I don't think she'd probably allowed to that on the radio. But anyway.
No, I don't think so.
With Eclipse Dine-In Cinemas Bundoran. Now serving pizza, hot dogs, ice cream and more to your seat. Find out more at Eclipse Cinema.
Oh, it is time to join our man with a very sunny disposition today. That is Collie McFadden with the very latest from Eclipse Cinemas in Bundoran. Hello, Sonny.
G'day. I'd like to think I've always a fairly sunny
Disposition.
I can't say it though. That disposition. I'm also the world's most tired man at the end of our college presentations, and so today I was really looking forward to going to see our first movie. And I have to tell you, Seamie, one of my many jobs is to check out the trailers, make sure what they're about and what they're most suitable. And okay, certain things, when Batman comes in, you go, that'll be the new Batman movie. No, it could have been a detective. But certain things come in and you've no idea. You just see the name of the trailer and you have to watch it to see if it's suitable, what it's suitable for. And we saw this movie called Polite Society and I went, oh God, what in God's name is that? It sounded to me like, some sort of Downton rip-off, hello, Mrs. Fotherington. Will we be having tea on the lawn? Well, it's
not like that.
I was wrong. Why don't we play the clip?
I'm Ria Khan.
I am going to be a stunt woman. No.
My sister's been seeing this guy, but he and his family are evil.
How about the bikini area? That leaves it to us.
Down with the patriarchy.
We need to get my sister back. They are not taking her away without a fight.
Polite Society in cinemas April 28.
I don't think she'd probably allowed to that on the radio. But anyway. Oh, yes. We're in trouble again. It's not at all anything like Downton Abbey. But anyway, but it looks great. The trailer is fantastic. And tell me, is it as good as the trailer looks?
No, it's better. There's no doubt about it. I had a really good time with this. Now, what I didn't know before I watched the trailer that time, and I probably watched the 12A version, is that I actually knew the director-writer, her name is Nida Manzoor. I wouldn't remember the name, but there was a TV show on Channel 4 maybe a year ago called We Are Lady Parts about a Muslim punk band, which I said, that sounds like rubbish. Loved it. Absolutely brilliant. Like Derry Girls, that, the whole world embraced Derry Girls, even though most people had never even been to Ireland, let alone, knew the uniqueness of Derry. And in the same lines, this film about or TV show about a Muslim punk band, didn't matter. I was in. Great characters. And that's what we have here. You can hear it already. Such a likable star. She's the teenage girl, wants to be a stunt woman. She loves fighting. She's got her two sidekicks who've got all the best one-liners. She's jealous of her sister. Or is she right? Is there some big conspiracy theory or is it just her sister is in love and she doesn't want to move on? Her sister is great because she was an artist and she's dropped out of college and she's just sitting around smoking and not really living her life, and she gets so frustrated. And it's very like, you remember a favorite of ours a couple of years back, Sing Street, the relationship between the two brothers there. It's kind of like that. And then suddenly we get all sorts of hijinks. It goes from sort of Bend It Like Beckham to Jackie Chan. And then there's even a bit of Chuckle Brothers in it too. It's really laugh out loud funny. The action is great. I would imagine, look, there's so much stuff out there on social media and TV shows for teenage girls. It's all tough and it's all about, looking perfect and all this. But not enough stuff that's just good crack. And that's exactly what this is. It's the best review I can give it. It's really good crack. Does it go a bit mad and maybe a bit silly in the last half an hour? Yeah. Did I care? Not a bit.
No.
Not a jot.
You bought in early on, you see. Probably.
Shot straight to him. Yeah, I love the action. The jokes are just genuinely funny. And the way people talk, okay, exaggerated in movie time, but you go, yeah, that's the way a couple of friends talk about school. Absolutely talk like that. And the other thing is, it just looks beautiful. A big set piece is set around one of the Pakistani weddings. So everyone's in the full Pakistani gear, which just the colors are so beautiful. And yet they're fighting full on kung fu fight in that gear. And you go, that's how you do it. We're going to be reviewing Marvel next week. I hope they're watching young independent filmmakers like this, because there's been no budget at all for this movie, and it's so full of life, color, and wit. I hope, the big movies are watching what's going on here. It's great fun. And Seamie, I think you'd really enjoy it. And even though there's kind of slightly horror movie, sci-fi slight bit at the end, yeah, you mightn't be that interested in it, but just because it's such good fun and good crack and has breakout stars left, right, and center, everyone steals the show when they get their moment. Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. It is a British action comedy drama film, folks. Bring your bit of Bruce Lee as well. And but it's a very girly movie. Is it?
It's girl power.
Totally girl power.
Totally girl power. And all the more enjoyable.
All the lads are going to be dragged to this.
Yeah, but they might be dragged to it, but they'll be asking to go back because it's for everyone. And I said that to somebody who works in the cinema. I said, they'll be making movies like this for boys for years that are just great fun and about how important it is to have your great friends around you when you go off on a mad adventure. And this is the same thing. It doesn't matter whether, you've ever met somebody from Pakistan or not, because it's set in around the London area. It's about rich versus poor. It's about, ambition and fun. And I loved it. And I really think so many people, if they enjoy a good time, they'll enjoy this. If you like Bend It Like Beckham, you'll love that. And most of us did.
You love this.
Yeah.
Right, we're moving on. We got another big release this week. It is Big George Foreman. And most people would say, yeah, well, it cooks up a good meal, but is it a good movie?
Yeah, I was wondering would you go for the boxing joke or the grill joke. I suppose we're not off the air yet. It's time for both. But yes, this is the true story of Big George Foreman, who, was world champion. If you ever seen, I'm going to mention another show to mention a show. The great documentary, maybe my favorite documentary of all time, When We Were Kings, about the Rumble in the Jungle, where George Foreman, he was the young superstar. Ali couldn't beat him. And yet, spoiler alert, he did. And that sent George Foreman into a kind of a spiral of depression. He lost his confidence. He stopped boxing. And he was kind of very much the bad guy of that. Ali helped turn the whole of the audience against him. You remember the Ali, Boubaye. And he was really down in the dumps, and he found God. He became a preacher. He did sign a deal for a little grill that started to do well, and he decided that God had told him he should go back to boxing. Everyone said, you're too old, you're too fat. This is the time of young Mike Tyson was around, Lennox Lewis was around. There's no point. You will, not only won't you win, you'll really get hurt. You might die. And yet he did come back. And he's such an and he came back as, lovable Uncle George from this, aggressive, almost thug-like character he'd been in his first attempt at being a world champion. And it's such an interesting story. It's actually one of those that if you saw it in a sort of Rocky style movie, you go, yeah, that wouldn't happen. That redemption arc. Yeah, of course he becomes a preacher. Of course he signs this endorsement deal. But no, all of this is true. And this looks really, really good. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to watch both movies. I'll be straight in tomorrow morning to
that's on tomorrow, is it? It's on tomorrow.
Both these movies start tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah. Now you've got brand new music, new film, Irish drama film. I think it was filmed in Granada, man. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
And it looks interesting, but a very
Granada and boy, very serious subject. And you know what? I said, earlier about polite society for teenage girls and boys to go to, and in some ways about, experience joy and, all the good things about being a teenager now. But in some ways, this very moving Irish drama could be seen by those people too. It's loosely based on Anne Lovett, who would have been 55 today. It's, they changed the drama enough for family and friends, but it is about a girl who finds herself, she is pregnant and she gives birth alone and she dies. They make that very clear on the on the footage for the movie that this is that story and that people should be prepared beforehand. And it's about the hours coming up to the decisions made. And really, Seamie, you and I are old enough to remember, the Ireland we lived in at the time, where there was, shame was one of the overriding attitudes to many people, many different walks of life, and people who shouldn't have had to carry that burden on their own, young people on their own. And, for all of today's ills, and we still have many of them, there's a lot of things that have, changed for the better. And I think support for so many people is around. But it is important to remember where these things, how these things were, because otherwise they happen again. All you've got to do is look at America, how these things come back again. It is a very rough chapter of Ireland and one of many chapters, and it's important to see. And both you and I are very passionate about supporting Irish movie makers and Irish music makers. And it's great, it's great. Some of the movies are lovely and funny and bubbly. Some of them are serious dramas. Some of them are hard but important watches like this. But it's important to, I think, to support them all. And that's going to be a limited release, but it's out in local cinemas. And it's filmed all around. A lot of it in Boyle, because they didn't want to do it all in Longford, where Anne Lovett was from. So,
set in 1984, folks. So that'll
Yeah.
take you back. 1984 put you in the right decade there. Right, that's about our lot. Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, I'm going to fall asleep.
Yeah, it's going to fall asleep. It's going to be huge. Look, Seamie, one thing is, in the trailer, they play Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow. If I wasn't into it already, I'm so into that. We'll talk about that when we're live next week.
We're live next week, where we'll be together next week, because we will come out from the Abbey Arts Centre in Ballyshannon. Next week, we'll be chatting to Collie. Collie, have a good week at the cinema, and we'll chat you in Ballyshannon next Thursday.
See you then. Cham.